Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, life just doesn't seem to go your way? It's as if you're constantly fighting an invisible force, one that refuses to give in no matter how much effort you put in. But what if I told you that the key to overcoming this struggle isn't about pushing harder, but about changing the way you see the world and how you engage with it? This is where the timeless wisdom of Stoicism can truly change the game. Stoicism isn't some abstract philosophy. It's a practical toolkit for navigating life's inevitable ups and downs with clarity, peace, and resilience. Imagine being able to face any challenge not because you have control over everything, but because you understand what is in your control, and just as importantly, what isn't. At the heart of Stoicism is the idea that true freedom comes from letting go of what we cannot control and focusing our energy on what we can change. It teaches us to embrace challenges with grace and courage, and it empowers us to live intentionally. This philosophy invites us to stop getting caught up in emotions and external circumstances, and instead shift our attention to how we respond and adapt. If you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or just unsure of how to navigate life's complexities, Stoicism offers the wisdom to help you move forward with serenity and purpose. So let's dive deeper into this transformative way of thinking and uncover how applying Stoic principles can help us thrive, no matter what life throws at us. First, let's talk about the dichotomy of control, a powerful Stoic concept that asks us to distinguish between what we can change and what we must accept. This idea isn't unique to Stoicism. It's a common thread throughout many wisdom traditions and psychological theories. It's all about discernment, the ability to recognize where our energy is best spent. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, made this point loud and clear. Our frustrations aren't usually caused by the events themselves, but by our reactions to them. Take being stuck in traffic, for example. You can't control the traffic, no matter how hard you try, but you can control how you respond. Instead of seething in frustration, you might choose to listen to a podcast, reflect, or simply breathe deeply. This shift in perspective can transform your experience, taking you from a place of irritation to one of calm or even enjoyment. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, echoed this wisdom in his meditations, advising us to ask, "Is this something within my control?" This simple question helps us focus our efforts on what truly matters and frees us from wasting energy on what we cannot change. But the dichotomy of control is not exclusive to Stoicism. It has been echoed across history. Aristotle, for example, spoke about the golden mean, the balance between excess and deficiency. He emphasized that courage, for instance, lies between rashness and cowardice. The key to living a virtuous life is understanding our limits and acting wisely within them. Psychologically, Carl Jung explored this concept through the idea of individuation, the process of becoming our true selves. Part of that journey involves acknowledging what we can change and accepting what we cannot. As Jung put it, we cannot change anything unless we accept it. This doesn't mean giving up. Rather, it's about accepting reality so we can channel our energy into areas where we can make a difference. The dichotomy of control invites us to embrace reality, to focus on our perceptions, and to recognize that while we can't control external events, we can control how we respond to them. This internal shift allows us to approach life's challenges with more grace, patience, and creativity. It empowers us to respond with clarity, conserve our energy for the battles that truly matter, and maintain serenity in the face of uncertainty. By internalizing this principle, we can change our experience of the world. Life becomes less about avoiding pain and struggle, and more about how we engage with those moments, whether it's with patience, resilience, or the wisdom to know when to let go. This Stoic approach leads to a deep sense of peace and effectiveness in our daily lives. Next, let's explore another key Stoic teaching. Stop clinging to objects, people, and power. Stoicism urges us to reflect on our attachments, those things that we believe we can't live without, and consider how they influence our sense of peace. When we tie our happiness or security to external factors, we give away our power. The Stoic path invites us to detach from these external dependencies, which allows us to maintain our inner tranquility regardless of the circumstances. By learning to embrace the inherent impermanence of life and the things around us, we free ourselves from the anxiety of trying to control everything. This shift in mindset doesn't mean we stop caring or engaging with the world. It means we do so with a deep understanding that the only constant we can rely on is our own response. The more we let go of our need to control everything, the the more we step into our own freedom. True happiness often eludes us because we're holding on too tightly to things that are inherently unstable, things that are fleeting and outside our control. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, taught that our distress doesn't come from external events themselves, but from the attachments we form to them. He famously said, "We are disturbed not by events, but by our views about them." This perspective is incredibly liberating because it gives us the power to choose a different view, one that isn't dependent on external validation or material possessions. Marcus Aurelius echoed this sentiment, advising himself to be indifferent to what makes no real difference. His wisdom challenges us to focus our energies on what truly matters: our character, our virtues, and our relationships, not our social status or material wealth. Similarly, Seneca spoke at length about how the pursuit of happiness through wealth, power, or possessions is ultimately a losing battle. By clinging to things outside our control, we set ourselves up for disappointment. True contentment, he argued, lies in releasing those attachments and cultivating inner peace. Taking this idea a step further, Aristotle, the great philosopher, taught that true happiness, or eudaimonia, is not found in possessions or the admiration of others, but in virtuous activity and fulfilling our potential. For Aristotle, happiness is not about what we accumulate, but about the life we lead, guided by reason and virtue. Plato, too, urged us to look beyond the surface and question what is truly valuable. His philosophy distinguished between the world of appearances and the world of forms, the eternal, unchanging truths. According to Plato, clinging to the material world is like mistaking shadows for reality. Only by seeking out these deeper truths can we achieve true insight and fulfillment. Modern psychology echoes these ancient teachings. Carl Jung, in his exploration of the human psyche, emphasized the importance of integrating our shadows, those parts of ourselves we tend to deny or repress. By embracing these hidden aspects of ourselves, we can find greater wholeness and reduce our reliance on external validation. This process, known as individuation, helps us develop a more authentic and grounded sense of self. So, what does this mean for us in today's world? It means we can enjoy the world around us without tying our self-worth to it. We can love others, engage in meaningful work, and savor life's experiences, all while acknowledging that nothing in this world lasts forever. This awareness is where we find freedom, the freedom to fully embrace life without the fear of loss. By accepting the transient nature of things, we can let go of the need to possess them and, in doing so, find a deeper, more lasting peace. When we internalize this Stoic wisdom, we begin to cultivate a strong, resilient inner life, one that is not easily shaken by external changes. We learn to live with open hands, appreciating the gifts the world offers without the constant fear of losing them. True peace and happiness come from within, through our ability to align with our deepest values and respond to life with wisdom and grace. Another critical aspect of this wisdom is stopping our dependence on the opinions of others. In a world dominated by social media likes, peer approval, and public judgment, it's easy to become consumed by the need for external validation. But Stoicism offers a lifeline, reminding us that peace and self-respect come from within, not from the ever-shifting views of others. Epictetus, in his timeless wisdom, reminds us that our suffering is not caused by events, but by the judgments we make about them. When we base our self-esteem on what others think of us, we subject ourselves to a roller coaster ride dictated by external forces we cannot control. Instead, he advises us to focus on what is within our control, our own actions, responses, and attitudes. Marcus Aurelius, who faced intense public scrutiny as an emperor, understood this principle deeply. He trained himself to remain indifferent to both praise and criticism from others. For him, tranquility came from adhering to his own reason and judgments, living in alignment with virtue, and not allowing the opinions of others to dictate his sense of self-worth. Seneca, too, underscored the importance of being independent from the crowd's ever-changing judgments. He believed that true freedom lies in being guided by our inner principles rather than the fickle opinions of society. It's about self-assessment, integrity, and living a life based on personal values. Aristotle reinforced this idea by teaching that virtue and ethical living, not external approval, form the foundation of a good life. While acknowledging the importance of social relationships and external goods, he emphasized that the highest form of happiness is found in living according to reason and virtue, not in the opinions or validations of others. Plato, similarly, urged us to seek truth and goodness beyond the surface. The pursuit of external approval is ultimately empty, he suggests, while understanding and living by higher principles brings true fulfillment. Modern psychology, particularly Carl Jung's concept of individuation, encourages us to separate from the false identities that others try to impose on us. By becoming who we truly are, independent of the world's judgments, we achieve a deeper sense of self and happiness. In all these teachings, the message is clear: true freedom, peace, and happiness arise from within. When we stop clinging to the approval of others, we can finally begin living authentically, grounded in our own values, and embracing life as it comes, without fear, without attachment, and without the need for external validation. In our pursuit of personal growth, it's essential to understand that achieving wholeness involves embracing all parts of ourselves, especially those that might not align with society's expectations or popular opinion. These parts are crucial for our authentic self-expression and fulfillment. The key lies in grounding ourselves in our own values and principles, learning to appreciate others' perspectives without relying on them for our self-worth. When we begin to consult our internal compass instead of being swayed by the ever-shifting tides of public opinion, we realize that our sense of self-esteem must be anchored in something much deeper: our integrity and purpose. By focusing on our intentions and values, rather than the external outcomes or approval, we free ourselves from the anxiety of trying to meet everyone else's expectations. This Stoic wisdom reminds us that our journey is about the process, not just the destination. It's about cultivating resilience and peace by understanding the limits of our control. While we cannot control all the outcomes, we can control our actions and attitudes. Epictetus encourages us to focus on what's within our power, our efforts and intentions, and release our attachment to things that are beyond our influence. This concept is reflected in the work of Marcus Aurelius, who frequently wrote about change and how we should adapt with grace to whatever life presents. He taught that resisting the natural flow of life only leads to frustration. Instead, we should do our best while staying open to life's twists and turns. Similarly, Seneca reminds us that distress arises not from events themselves, but from our rigid expectations of how things should unfold. A wise person understands the role of fate in our lives and strives for excellence while being prepared for different outcomes. Aristotle touches on the idea that while we can strive for excellence in our actions, the outcome is influenced by many external factors. Focusing solely on the result can lead to disappointment, overlooking the value of virtuous action. Plato also emphasizes that our pursuit of the good, the true, and the beautiful is a journey toward higher understanding, not a search for a specific material outcome. In the modern era, Carl Jung's concept of individuation aligns with these Stoic principles. He highlights the importance of embracing our unique path of self-discovery and growth, which cannot be tied to fixed outcomes or societal expectations. This journey unfolds unpredictably, much like the Stoic approach to life. It's about the process of becoming who we truly are. How can we integrate these timeless teachings into our everyday lives? By focusing on our intentions, actions, and growth, we can let go of the need to control or obsess over specific outcomes. This approach doesn't mean we abandon the desire to achieve our goals, but rather that we shift our focus to what truly matters: the effort, the growth, and the wisdom we gain along the way. When we stop clinging to particular outcomes or rigid ideas, we become more adaptable and resilient. Life becomes an open field of possibilities, and we can find joy not just in what we achieve, but in the process itself. This perspective allows us to face uncertainty with courage and grace, trusting that by engaging fully in each moment, we are cultivating peace and fulfillment. In essence, Stoicism teaches us to live more fully in the present, to trust the journey, and to embrace life's inevitable changes with a sense of inner peace. By doing so, we nurture a deeper sense of purpose and resilience, regardless of what the future holds. As you reflect on these principles, remember that Stoicism isn't about merely surviving life's challenges. It's about learning to thrive within them, to dance in the rain. With courage and grace, your path through life is uniquely yours, and by applying these timeless Stoic teachings, you're building a foundation of strength, wisdom, and peace that will guide you through every twist and turn. Thank you for joining this journey. Your commitment to personal growth enriches all of us. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep growing. The best part of your journey is still ahead.